Hey, this is Notser, and we ranked out! Season 10, Rank 1, it was relatively painless, and I'm going to talk about that experience. The game in the background is myself in the Tier 9 French Premium Battleship Jean Bart. We are on the map Hotspot. Build is on the screen. Hopefully you enjoy. So, the 10th season of Ranked has come and gone for me. I ranked out, and I've got a lot of thoughts on it. One of the first things is, can we get something other than Tier 10 gameplay wargaming? I understand you want to associate Tier 10 with competitive, but I think you're missing out on the opportunity to give players a unique experience season to season. For instance, if I was someone who was just coming back and I wanted to participate in a ranked season, and I participated in the 9th ranked season that involved the same rule set. Maybe I'm more casual and I don't feel like I need to invest as much time in a season that is the exact same experience. When there's hundreds of more experiences out there in different tiers, they're locked behind wargaming not wanting to associate that with any shred of competitiveness, but the ranked gives you a competitive format for each tier that you just can't get. Usually, tier 5 bracket is pretty, generally new to the game. This may be their first opportunity to level through, and the gameplay isn't as skilled as Tier 10. But it could in a ranked season. Plus, there are still players who don't have a Tier 10, and that's fine. Maybe they came to the game late, or maybe they just don't have enough time, or they've swapped 1,000 different lines. They don't deserve to be punished every season that they can't participate in the higher bracket. That's not fair. And we can do better, wargaming. I know World of Tanks associated Tier 10 as the competitive, and that's the only thing that they allowed. But for ships, we don't need to do that. We don't need that. We've got great gameplay that exists at all tiers, and there are absolutely great experiences for all tiers, not just Tier 10, not just Tier 8. I would really appreciate it if wargaming would invest in having ranked seasons have more variety in the tiers they offer. Just saying. Now, this is the 4th straight Tier 10 involved competitive season. We've got 2 clans and then 2 ranked, obviously. So, the knowledge base on Tier 10s is pretty high. It is absolutely high. It is very easy to look at a matchup for me and see the roster of ships and know exactly how it's going to be played out. And obviously, I'm going to give up some of that knowledge that I would have over other players, but I'm someone who values variety and unique experiences over overwhelming knowledge of a particular design so I can exploit it for success. Because I like the challenge of learning something new and seeing if I can continue to be successful. And I just want to have that challenge at Tier 6, Tier 7, Tier 8. I haven't played Tier 8 the last 2 rank seasons because I've already been locked into Tier 10. So come on, wargaming. Give us something different. I love you all, but please, something different than Tier 10. I have played exclusively Tier 10 for the last 2 rank seasons, and I am so over Tier 10. I am so over it. Okay, so obviously I can't talk about Tier 8 rank experience because I was forced to do Tier 10 from the very start, but I'm going to guess that you had 1 to 2 DDs per side, you had 3 cruisers, 1 or 2 radar, and you had long-range battleships, predominantly probably North Carolina, but you had that experience and minimal CV experience on North America. Maybe more than that on the other servers, but I ran into, I think, 3 CV games total in 133. But I can talk about Tier 10. So for me, Tier 10 really evolved into 3 different brackets. You had 15 to 10, 10 to 6, and then 5 to 2. And each one had its own different style on North America, and it was fascinating for me. So 15 to 11, or 15 to 10, that section was incredibly easy for an experienced player to dominate. It didn't matter what Tier 10 you brought, you were dominating in objective play, damage output, kills, assists. It was just run rampant because there would be a lot of players who weren't familiar with Tier 10 or weren't comfortable with the gameplay, and they just gave up a lot in their decision making, in their ability to target the weak points. I can't tell you how many times I see, even today, Tier 10s firing their AP into the hull of the ship when it's highly angled and you know, guaranteed, it's going to shatter. Why not fire at the superstructure and do overpin damage? It's much better than doing no damage, right? So all of these simple mistakes that players make consistently, that's the difference there. There's a large amount of players who make the little mistakes, and if you're someone who can minimize those, you will climb very rapidly out of the 15 to 10 bracket. That was my experience. It didn't matter what ship I played, as long as I understood what that ship can do, I was successful. Now, I will grant you, because I do this for a living, I have a lot of knowledge on all these ships. A lot of free knowledge, and I'm hopefully sharing that with you in the video series, but you have to invest almost as much time as I did in collecting it from the viewership standpoint, right? So, I understand. I just can't learn every ship the way you can, Notser. That's okay. As long as you know one, you should be good, because you'll have the experience and the knowledge to overcome a lot of silly mistakes that a lot of your opponents will be making from 15 to 10. At least that was my experience. From rank 10 to 6, you have less little mistakes, but funny enough, you have more consistent radar mistakes. I'm just baffled by players and their inability to deal with radar. I had to shake my head constantly at DDs in the tier to 6 bracket who would just rush into the objective and die in the first minute of the game. And that's basically a loss for your team. So, if you're playing something like a battleship or a cruiser, from 10 to 6, yeah, you can find success, but you still have to be fortunate that you're not on a team with a DD player that rushes in and dies. And I absolutely did this too. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so much better. I've never done that. Everyone's done that. But the consistency of this bracket in particular, where DDs would rush in and die, it was just off the charts. And I was just so flabbergasted, like, really? It was so easy to win a lot of those games because I didn't have to do anything. The enemy DD player already threw away the game. And it's just a very, very surprising experience. As far as ships are concerned, I played every tier. I make an effort every single rank season to play every single tier available at that bracket, so players, no matter what ship they might have some sort of knowledge to go off that is recent. And I find that works very well. One question I always receive, what is the best ship for ranked? And you know what? I don't like that question because there isn't a best ship for ranked. There are absolutely ships that do too much that's really good, Worcester. But that doesn't mean that there is a best ship for ranked. I always like to think of it as, what ship are you best at for ranked? Where the player dictates what ship they end up playing because they can get the most potential out of it. I've seen players do wonderful things in literally every single ship in the game. It doesn't matter. So, whatever you enjoy playing, you can make it work as long as you understand its strengths and weaknesses in every single scenario. You can just exploit those or minimize them. This bracket in particular, I was shocked at how easy the Haragumo and the sort of the light cruisers were able to dominate. This does not happen from 5 to 2 in my experience. There was a lot more selfish play from 10 to 6, camping DDs and camping cruisers, people that just refuse to do anything for the team. That will not get you very far. You need to think for the team. If you think for the team, rank is so much easier. But 10 to 6, very selfish players. From 5 to 2, there are almost no mistakes made in each battle. And for every one that is made, it's basically a guaranteed win for the team that doesn't make that mistake. It is brutal. Players are ruthless. They absolutely pull the ships that they can cheese the most with. The Worcester in particular, God, it makes life a living hell for a DD, you can't get close to the objective at all. I found that what I ended up having to do was I sort of had to always know where the Worcester was and avoid that flank. If it was on every single flank, then I would do things to manipulate whether they'd be seen from behind an island, but I wouldn't be close enough that their radar would spot me, right? These tactics were necessary. Everything was min-maxed. Des Moines, Worcester, all in the perfect position. They knew exactly the range that they would use radar. They could feel you. It would just, it's enjoyable as a player that likes to put all this thought, but you can get into how crazy it can get at super high tiers. Same with, clan. But I found that my greatest asset was not playing the cheese ship or doing anything. It was commanding as a DD. If I could queue as a DD and command the engagement, I basically turned 7 random people into a temporary clan. I basically won every game. It didn't matter. I chose the Z-52 because it had a good smoke hydro situation. I would never accidentally die to torpedoes. And I could spot people who are trying to cheese around an island or in smoke. And I appreciated how long it lasted, 2 minutes. And I just like the Z-52. I think it looks cool. Some players that doesn't matter at all, but I think looks inform my enthusiasm playing it. And I'm more likely to just go the extra mile because I just enjoy the experience. I played the Z-52. I did minimal damage. Sometimes I would layer my torpedoes to flood, and I definitely want to talk about this strategy that I developed. It's not new. I would wait 20 or 30 seconds between my torpedoes, and I would just commit to basically the indicator. And a lot of times I found the camping battleships just couldn't handle it, so it worked out. But my success, I just knew how to lead the team into a successful strategy, and we followed through with it. We came back probably 5 or 10 times at least just by using superior strategy. And that is something that if you know it, share it, communicate more, you might find more success in ranked. I enjoyed the whole experience. I like playing my DD, my Z-52. It was great. I hope you enjoyed the game in the background. I hope you can share your thoughts on ranked, and I hope you have a wonderful day.